We have clouds overhead. We have rain in the forecast for later tonight. But we've got baseball at lunch, and a good one at that. Vanderbilt in Tuscaloosa to take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcome, everybody. So glad to have you with us for Game 2 of this weekend series between the Tide and the Doors, along with Alan Dunn. I'm Chris Stewart. AD, a tough act to follow in last night's matchup.
Hey, listen, if you're a baseball traditionalist, you loved last night's ball game because you had very good pitching, you had the long ball, and you had drama, and I think we're in for another great one today.
Indeed. Alabama, a 5-4 winner yesterday in the series opener. Coach Rob Vaughn's team has been on a roller coaster ride, though, this year.
And you know, one thing about the SEC, that's not something that you don't see on a week in and week out, but you're trying to collect as many wins as you can get, and this is a great series for the Tide to try to come out with a series win today.
Vanderbilt, on the other hand, is in a very unfamiliar spot for legendary coach Tim Corbin. They've been among the best not only in the SEC but nationally for quite a while, but they are fighting to keep a postseason streak alive.
Hey, we're always accustomed to seeing Vanderbilt right there at the end. They know what's ahead of them. They got to play really good baseball these last series, and I know that a Tim Corbin team is poised to come out to keep this thing going.
They'll have to get it going against a young man out of Porter, Texas, who has been a rock-solid lefty on the hill for the Tide.
Zane Adams, he's your Saturday guy. He's been in this program now. This is third year. You look at his numbers. He's 4-3 with a 4.10 ERA, 59 innings, 63 punch-outs, only 19 walks. He's going to work his fastball 91 to 95. His changeup is his out pitch. He needs to go deep in this game for the Tide to win a series.
Vanderbilt, top to bottom, will look like this in today's matchup. Riker Waite will lead things off, but it's the DH center fielder and first baseman that yesterday did some damage in game 1 of this series.
And you look at that right there. There's 6 through 8 hitters in the lineup, had a 2-run homer and 2 solo homers. A lot of production from the bottom part of that order. And this is going to be a game that, again, Zane Adams has got his work cut out for him, but I think he's up for the task.
Again, we were scheduled to go at 6 o'clock tonight, but that's also the time that some heavy rain is expected to move back into the area, and therefore we have the matinee, if you will, for this one. And a lot of people love an excuse to get out of work early, those that could. I got a feeling that some Friday coughs will develop for a few folks that may slip out a little bit early. Again, this is not ideal, but not bad. It is overcast, but pleasant at the moment, as the first pitch is a called strike. Scott Kennedy determining the balls and strikes today. James Ainsworth is at first, Anthony Perez at second, and Michael Snover is the third base umpire. Waite is a sophomore who swings and misses at the 0-1 offering. Waite yesterday 2 for 4 in the leadoff spot. As that one misses down and in. What's a key for Adams in this one? Especially early.
What we've seen thus far in this early, obviously only 3 pitches in, but he's got to pitch to the bottom of the strike zone with his fastball. He's got to really work the fastball to arm side, and that changeup has to have the action that it normally does for him, that's his go-to pitch. When that changeup and fastball is working, that gives him a chance to go through this lineup maybe 3 times, taking you into the 6th inning, which would be a critical thing for the Tide and their bullpen.
We'll talk to Tyler Fay a little bit later in the ball game, but he was the starter last night, as this one is rolled slowly to third. Fielding it easily, Jason Torres, and making the play for out number 1. That's really the key for Alabama defensively, isn't it? They don't have to be spectacular, but they need this group to be solid, and it hasn't always been so at times.
You're exactly right, Chris. If you look at where they are in the league and their fielding percentage, they're towards the bottom of the lineup in the fielding percentage, and this is something you see right there last in the SEC, 67 errors. And that's something that, again, if you just make the routine play, that's going to help your pitching. And that helps the pitcher to not have to throw more pitches. And then if that's the case, then you don't have to go to your bullpen. So it's a combination. Pitching and defense are two things that go together, and they need to shore that up to keep propelling them to where they want to get.
Fastball misses downstairs. Yeah, the Crimson Tide trying to get to a regional for the 3rd straight year under head coach Rob Vaughn.
And I think if you look at the projections, as we will at times, that they have themselves positioned in a very good place right now. Now it's a matter of, hey, you'd love to get a chance to host, and
right.
that's such a key thing. What they're trying to do is we see their the RPI and strength of schedule, and they're projected as number 2 seed, but overall number 17, just outside that 16 seed, and boy, that would be a huge thing if you could do that.
After tracking the ball down in center field, Bryce Fowler doing so. Alabama trying to make it a 1-2-3 inning, but can't. They had the shift on. They were positioned right, but that one was so sharply hit off the bat of Brody Johnston that the Tide's second baseman, Brennan Holt, not able to come up with it.
Yeah, as you said, the shift is on. It's just hit a little bit in that 6th hole, even playing there. It just looked like it kind of came up on the hill of the glove. It would have taken a really strong throw because Johnson can run. Anyways, they do have 2 outs. If you're Adams, you want to kind of minimize the damage from right here.
It is ruled an infield single, as I expected it would. If that's a play for the shortstop in a traditional sense, probably goes as an error. Then again, in the regular spot, that may have been a routine play that he fields.
Exactly.
Instead of being a backhanded play for a second baseman who's already in a position he's really not all that comfortable with. Or familiar with, maybe is the better phrasing of that. As you see Braden Holcomb standing in 0 for 4 last night as he fanned a couple of times, and that one may have caught a little bit of Brady Neal, the catcher. I believe it did. So Scott Kennedy doing what a great umpire will do. He's buying a little time. That is his last line of protection for the course of 9 innings. He's making sure he looks out for the guy that's donning the gear in front of him, whether it's Neal or whether it's the Vanderbilt catcher, Corbin Reynolds. And other than buy him time, there is not a thing in the world they can do for him. And I will leave it at that. 1 ball, no strikes is the count as Johnston gets his lead over at first. Off speed, just a tad low. Holcomb at .335 on the year, 13 home runs, 16 doubles. But he has struck out 55 times with 28 walks. Adams across with that off speed. Just missed low on the previous pitch and elevated it slightly.
That was a great double-up pitch. That's that changeup that we're talking about, that his signature pitch. And when he's working down there with that good hand speed, that helps that pitch right there, that fastball that comes out of the same slot, the same release point at 90, almost 92 miles an hour with very good angle. Mixing and matching those 2 pitches, that tells you if Zane Adams is on his A game or not.
2 balls, 2 strikes. That one misses low, but a good job on the part of Neal to keep it in front as the count runs to 3-2, and a running start upcoming for Johnston over at first with 2 down. Adams ready, and now dealing the payoff. Right through there for strike 3. On 2 of them, Holcomb didn't agree. But Scott Kennedy rings him up as the first one allows Bama to escape unscathed. Adams, a big punch out to end the top of the first. Boy, what a way to start the series. Alabama gets a 3-run homer in the 6th and a solo walk-off from John Lim to begin the bottom of the 9th and end the bottom of the 9th and the game as well. The Tide, a 5-4 winner, hoping for similar success, if not as much drama today. I mentioned Eric Hines with that 3-run blast. It was his only hit, but boy, was it a rocket. And Alabama benefiting from the effort of the freshmen and hoping they'll benefit tonight, or today I should say, from the effort of the junior and also that guy. The 1 and 2 spots in the order, Justin LeBron and Brady Neal, 2 very, very good ones, as is the lefty that's taken the hill, Aiden Stillman. An injury kept him out for most of the offseason prior to his rookie campaign in Nashville, but he is creeping up towards being the guy they fully expected when they signed him.
Yeah, this is the ceiling for this young man is just outstanding. You look at only his 3rd start, 2-1 with a 3.8, only 9 innings with 15 punch outs, 10 walks. He's going to work 92 to 95. 3-pitch mix and a very high ceiling, and this is a guy that they love at Vanderbilt, and to see what he's going to be able to do once he really gets a chance to pitch. He hasn't been on the mound very much, only 9 innings, but you look at him and he got everything you look at as a prototypical guy that's going to be a Friday night starter in this league.
Justin LeBron's average at 260, which, while below what Bama expects or he anticipated, or vice versa, however you want to phrase it, has somewhat stabilized, because that's where he's been for a few weeks now. Not that, again, you're thrilled with it, but it hasn't continued to drop for him.
And I just feel like that when you look at LeBron, and when this season is all wrapped up and you see his numbers and what he's been able to do in his first 2 years at Alabama, I just got a feeling you're going to be close to those numbers. I mean, the skill set is just so he is just so unbelievably talented. And just, you know, some of those balls that maybe last year found the hole, maybe they haven't done that. And I think one of the things, if you look at his season thus far, is, you know, he's shown the ability to hit balls in the left field seats and the right field seats. I don't think he's had as many opportunities to hit the ball oppo, so maybe he's pulling off a little bit more than he did in the first 2 years.
Is one of the reasons he's still projected so high, and some have him, or most have him, I think, as the number 5 pick, because he has sampled adversity and handled it pretty well. I mean, that's one thing a lot of guys don't experience until they're getting the checks at the next level.
And a great point. And I think you look at that, so that's going to go in the makeup category. And then the skill set, I mean, we've already seen he's a 5-tool player. I mean, and so you look at that, and that projects to where he is in the draft. And so I'm sure you ask him, he definitely is not pleased with his performance. But on the other side, you see him make plays like he did last night on a turn a double play. And so
Brady Neal, who has been so good all season long. You see his production last night as he's at 353 on the year, ahead of the count here, 2 balls and no strikes, which makes him obviously very, very dangerous.
I mean, you look at Brady's numbers, obviously the MVP of the season for the Crimson Tide, and you see his numbers from last year compared, and it's just every category he has upped his game, and it's not something that you don't expect. I mean, coming out of high school, he was one of the top catchers in the country, and then coming here to Alabama last year, I think he tried to find his way, and this year it's all come together. Veteran player, veteran presence, and he has been a bright spot for the Tide.
Even brighter than those gloves that he's wearing at the moment. Ahead in the count, 2-1, now 2 balls and 2 strikes as Aiden Stillman evens things up.
I think those gloves are matching the flag on his, if you look at the flag on his sleeve, I think that's what he's going for.
The trim on it?
Yes,
okay.
I think that's what he's going for.
Fair
Not
enough.
sure.
Fair enough. He was about ready to wave a white flag right there as that breaking ball was really close to being there for strike 3. But he's fortunate to survive for a payoff pitch that's upcoming. With the infield shifted to the right, Neal waits and slaps it foul the other way. 40 RBIs, 7 homers on the year. But again, it's the 55 hits that have allowed him to hit 353 so far. That have been so impressive. Here comes another payoff. Pops this one up a mile high. That is indeed a major league pop-up. It's going to be fielded by the shortstop for the out. Riker Waite making the play, and there are 2 gone here in the Bama half of inning number 1. So Bryce Fowler, who'd been the leadoff guy for the bulk of the season, slides to 3. And talk about that change from a coach's perspective and how it changes for that young man going from the 1 spot to the 3.
I think if you look at what Fowler did in the leadoff spot and what he brought, it was obviously getting on base at a high clip, showed power, can run. He does all the things that you love to see at a leadoff spot. Then you take him down, and what he's done in the SEC. I mean, he's 3rd in the SEC in hits and doubles, and so you take that and you say, hey, can we get a little bit more production with someone on base, or potentially? And I think he's fit into that 3 spot very well. And I think it's Coach Vaughn, when he's trying to shuffle the lineup and try to get the most production. Bryce Fowler's a veteran. I don't think it matters where he hits in the lineup to him.
1-2. Good job fighting that one off, and also maybe trying to take advantage, if he could have gotten it on the ground, of that vacant gaping hole on the left side. Third baseman playing over in almost shallow right as Johnston has shifted over. That one missing away, and Fowler takes it for a 2-2 count.
And you're seeing Stillman right here, the reason that the accolades have been thrown out about him. We've already talked about his size. You see his arm speed. and then the quality of pitches. He's going to work up into that 92, 95 range with his fastball. Just as you said.
It's sometimes better to be lucky than good.
Oh.
And a little bit of both right there.
What's the old hit them where they ain't,
yeah.
I guess is the saying and he just, not the greatest exit velocity. But,
his was from the batter's box to first. And talk about exit velo. How about Hines in game 1 against Tennessee? Hit one that still hadn't come down on Rocky Top. And then last night, the big 3-run rocket to the Vandy bullpen that tied the game in the 6th inning and really kind of flipped that game. It was mostly Vanderbilt to that point, and Fennell had been so good. They went to the bullpen, and very quickly things fell apart for the Commodores.
I think what's more impressive to me, the ball that he hit at Tennessee was, listen, a grown man hit that ball.
Yeah.
That ball was, it looked like a golf ball leaving the stadium.
Yeah, it did.
But last night, he's even more impressed because he hit that ball to the right center field gap. That shows you the strength, and to be able to stay on that ball and drive it at a critical part of the ball game.
Kind of like that one. Warning track, wall, gone. It was a few feet off of where last night's was, but not far. Same result, a 2-run blast this time, and Alabama gets on the board here in the first. Well, as you're trying to describe last night, Allen, he basically gives you a replay.
Look at this, that ball middle up, a little bit to the outside part of the play, and look at the bat speed and the strength, the extension. What an absolute bomb again by a young man who just continues to get better and better, and hitting in that spot right there puts 2 on the board for the Tide.
Superhero weekend here at the Joe, and John Lim was Superman late last night. With the change in start time, a lot of folks here as the Invisible Man for Superhero today, but that'll change as we go through the afternoon. Mr. Lim with a repeat. 3-0 Bama. Well, the phrase "pick it up where you left off" certainly applies for Eric Hines and John Lim, as they have gone back to back to give the Tide the early advantage.
Johnny Lim says, what you can do, I can do better. Hanging slider. Look at the extension. That is a strong man as well. And we got back-to-back jacks. And the Tide puts a 3-spot early in this ball game. You love to see that, especially to give Zane Adams a little lead going into his next inning.
America, have you heard? There's a brand new dance, and it's called the Bird. And the Tide has flown out to a 3-0 advantage over the Commodores. Our very young production crew has no clue what I was talking about with that reference, but I'm sure as a fan of Morris Day at the time, you got that one.
I got it there, bro.
Thank you. 1-1 offered to Jason Torres, and he fans to get the count to 1-2. Torres, 234 on the year. Florida native, who last night went 1 for 3. Takes one to get the count even up at 2-2.
And Torres, you still look at those numbers, still an RBI guy, 37 RBIs on the season. It's something he's done his whole career. He's found a way to drive runs in. Batting average probably not where he wants it, and the home run numbers are down a little bit from the previous years. But again, he has been an RBI guy. And listen, the last time I checked, that's what it's about, getting those runners to hit that 17-inch white thing when they come in.
I made the mistake of trusting somebody else other than the umpire on the count. I looked at the scoreboard and it fooled me, but now we got it at 1-2, and I think we're all set. So now we got it set as veteran third baseman takes that one low and away. He's got some power, 5 homers, 7 doubles, and a triple for Torres. Again, his average lower than he had expected, sitting at 234, but still a threat. Home run cut, but came up empty as Stillman gets out of the first, but not until the Tide scores 3 runs. They do it on 3 hits, a pair of long balls getting it done for Alabama. Eric Hines, the 2-run shot, followed by last night's hero. Up and away is Alabama to get this one started. Bama started the series on Thursday, and Vanderbilt started swinging it early. The Doors had a good one on the hill in Connor Fennell, but once he came out of the game, Bama started to turn it around in a hurry. A walk followed by the 3-run homer from Hines, and then the solo blast from John Lim in the 9th inning. Took Bama from down 3 to up 1 as they walked it off. Tim Corbin pushed the right buttons for the majority of his career. Sometimes you go with the gut and it fails you just a little bit. The strategy was a good one. He said, you know, we felt like Fennell might be slipping just a little bit, but Coach Dunn, sometimes you push the right button, but you don't get the right result. Ground ball up the middle will get underneath the glove of the Tide's second baseman, Brennan Holt, and that'll be a leadoff base hit for the Commodores as the right fielder, Logan Johnstone, gets the base hit.
And along those lines, Chris, of talking about that, of when to pull a pitcher, when to leave one, you know, leave him in, take him out. It's, listen, Coach Corbin has done this for a long time. He knows his personnel. He has seen Fennell in games this year, throughout his career. And when you have that sense of when you want to get a guy out, sometimes you got to go with your gut. And again, it's about execution of the players coming in And it just didn't work yesterday, and Alabama feasted on it and came out with a huge win on Thursday night.
24 seasons loaded with success there in Nashville. Unprecedented what he's accomplished. Colin Barzy, the junior out of Illinois, 8 homers on the year, went 2 for 4 last night with a solo shot. Nipping the outside corner there was Adams to get the count to a ball and 2 strikes.
And he hit a ball yesterday that have not seen a lot of balls go to that part of the field here at the Joe. I mean, that ball was just right of the batter's eye. Just extremely powerful swing. This guy's got, he's obviously has home run power. He's got 8 on the season, but the location of that ball he hit was pretty amazing.
2-2 to Barzy. Boy, fooled him with that breaking ball. That's a heck of a pitch there.
You look at this pitch by Adams. This is that location. Looks like it's a slider that had great depth down in front of the plate. Great located pitch. And if Adams can continually stay down there in this ball game and then elevate when he needs to at times, we could see him taking the Tide deep in this ball game.
I think Barzy's eyes could tell that one was going to miss the zone badly, but the body failed him. He'd already committed and could not stop. Here's Rustin Rigdon, out of Metter, Georgia. 6 feet, 185. Waiting on an 0-1. Rolled right side, nice piece of hitting going the opposite way. They'll put on the brakes, throwing behind the runner and almost got him. But back in safely was John Stone, as the Doors have something going here with 2 on and 1 out.
It was a great job of hitting by Rigdon. Just a fat, looked like it might have been a little cutter up that he just stayed inside on it. And then you see the back pick by Steele.
So 2 on with 1 out. And the first offering to the first baseman, Tommy Gooden, in there for a strike. California native. 32 RBIs, 10 home runs, a dangerous man at the plate.
And he was a good one last night as he put the Doors up on a long home run to right field to get them going. And they were talking about his progression as well. Another young player, has kind of waited his time, kept when he would get an opportunity, he was showing success and just kept getting more and more opportunities. Now you look up and you see his numbers on the season, and 288 batter with runners in scoring position. So he has progressed at a great pace and done things when he's gotten his opportunities.
That one misses down and away, and the count goes to 3-1. Want to be careful, but also don't want to load them up here in the top half of inning number 2, especially when you got a 3-0 advantage, as Bama does at the moment. That one misses high, and there's ball 4, and they are indeed loaded now. And Corbin Reynolds, the freshman who has homered 5 times on the year. The Clarksville, Tennessee native. Went 1 for 4 last night. They take a little base hit here, as that one too misses upstairs. Ball down, gets the count to 2-0, and a Very dangerous position right here for Zane Adams in the Tide, as it is absolutely the hitter's count for the 9-hole in Corbin Reynolds. Fouled that one off. Unfortunate was Bama that didn't get a piece of the hand of Reynolds. That was awfully close.
You know, two things with Reynolds. You look at his average runners in scoring position. He does have home run power, but he also has some punch out in there as well. He has 46 Ks on the year. So if Adams could get back in the count, there's a chance he could get that punch out. But this is a huge 2-1 pitch in this inning.
Chased one there, trying to go the opposite way, looking really for a similar spot to the ground ball we saw hit earlier by Rigdon, but now Adams in a much better spot. Let's see if he can finish him off. Popped up. Will it stay in play? I don't believe so, and it won't.
And this is that situation, Chris, where if you're Adams, you are looking for that punch out. A lot of times when you're trying to go for strikeouts, that's not the most conducive thing a lot of times, but with runner in score position in less than 2, and you got a 2-2 count on a guy that is prone to the punch out, you really need to get that punch out here and then go to work with 2 outs.
Johnson at third, Rigdon at second, Gooden at first. Reynolds cannot come up with it. Great job by Neal to hang on to the foul tip, and a huge strikeout by Zane Adams.
That's the best fastball of the day for Adams in a critical 2-2 count. It's a fastball to arm side. You look at it, great angle. Just he overpowered him with that. Now you can't let up. You got 2 outs. Now you get that 3rd out.
Back to the top of the order, though. Riker Waite, the sophomore, swings and misses the breaking ball. He grounded to third his first time up. This is a spot where we have seen the Bama defense, though, let down the pitching at times.
And that's why getting that punch out when the ball's not put in play, not a lot of negative things can happen.
Out in front of that one.
And in this inning, the last 5 pitches that you've seen Adams throw have been the best 5 of this inning. And that's what you love to see. When your back's against the wall, can you rise to the occasion and make a big pitch? None bigger than this one right here.
Ahead 0-2. Tried to go the opposite way, but fouled it off.
That's a good job, Adams. You see him, he thought he had that punch out. He tried to go to the top of the ladder with that heater. Now I think he either goes back up there. He's got that slider that he can do in the dirt.
Big breaking ball again, chopped foul.
And Riker Waite is a tough out. They moved him to the leadoff spot. This is his 3rd time of the season to be in positions just like this, and he's going to battle. Good matchup.
Another 0-2. Rolled foul. Tell you what, that was going to be tough if that stays in play.
That probably clears them.
Clears them, or even if Torres gets to it, it's one you probably have to stick in your hip pocket. And a run is in. Still juiced. Still 2 out. Still 0-2. And it still is. Heck of a job on the part of Waite to stay alive. Got the pitch count over 40 already here in the second. It may not be done yet. Just a tad low. kind of gamble on his part, given the low strike call, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, I think he was looking for that pitch, and when he saw it down, he just left it down there. And you're very interesting to see where Adams may go here in this pitch after being down there in the zone. He goes back down there.
Pretty good job on the part of Neal to keep that one from scooting to the backstop.
2s across the board here, Chris. 2-2 count, 2 outs. Big pitch in this inning.
Which is a 2 as well. Top of the second. And now the carousel will begin. We're extremely early in this one, but a very big pitch is upcoming. Bama trying to keep it 3-0. Vanderbilt trying to cut into it. The payoff from Adams. Called third strike. 94 plus on the gun. Freezes him, and the Tide gets out of the jam. Adams on the brink, but able to overcome it, and the Tide leads it. Going to the home half of the second, 3-0. Aiden Stillman, a week ago, wasn't scheduled to throw much. Didn't. 3 2/3 as Tim Corbin's been trying to work his pitch count up.
It was really only his second collegiate start in that game against Texas last week. You saw what he did, 3 2/3 with 6 punch outs. And they've worked him in, and then he was followed up by the bullpen. They had 14 punch outs on the day with a 6-0 win against Texas. Huge win for the Commodores, and then a huge start for this young man who is trying to work his way back in after having been down all fall. He was down. He didn't pitch. Very minimal work in preseason. So he's really, he's just kind of been on the fly here as a freshman. Thrown in the SEC, and he has pitched admirably at this point.
As indeed, 1 pitch, 1 gone for Alabama as Luke Vaughn rolls out to second base. And Peyton Steele getting the start for the Crimson Tide today. Takes ball 1. Right fielder hitting .214 in his sophomore year with 2 homers and 21 RBIs. Went 1 for 3 last night. And gets ahead here. 2-0. Good cut, but fouled it back. That one misses a tad high. We were talking about it during the break. Scott Kennedy has been very consistent with the strike zone being lower than we've seen at times this year, but I hear it said all the time that, and you tell me because you're the guy that did this for a living for a long time, whatever it is, as long as it's the same thing in the first and the ninth inning, it's hard to argue with it, right?
Absolutely. And the other thing is, and we've seen Zane Adams, he's been able to consistently hit that pitch in the bottom part of the zone. He threw some of those sliders down in the dirt that, and we see again, there's a pitch that is to the bottom of the strike zone, but Kennedy has been very consistent in calling this. And I think, to your point, all you want to do is, if you're giving it both sides, and the hitters know that if we got it, with that pitch is there, we got to be attacking the baseball.
So 2 gone, and quickly at that, so Rob Vaughn's going to call his 9-hole hitter and second baseman Brennan Holt over. Now, you would not, in a situation like this where the pitcher's only thrown 4 or 5 pitches in the frame, and he's a youngster who struggled in the first, there's no way that you would go with a bit of a delay tactic whatsoever. But if you were going to, this might be a spot where it would take place, right?
You would you would kind of think that. I mean,
yeah.
we're
if
not.
There were gamesmanship that took place.
Yes.
Rob Vaughn just going over the scout. Again, great job at Maryland. 2-time Coach of the Year in that league. 5 straight NCAA tournament appearances for him, counting what he did his last 2 seasons there with the Terrapins, and then the 3 with Alabama, or actually I should say 3 at Maryland and 2 for the Crimson Tide. Well on his way to a 3rd right now. 1 ball, no strikes to Holt. The Louisiana native fouls that one off the mask of Mr. Kennedy, and my goodness, that's not good. He got popped. Looked like he went straight back, and he is not in a good spot right now. I did see his eyes open, but that is so scary, and I'm very glad that we have decided to step away for just a moment, and we'll be back in Tuscaloosa. 3-0 Alabama, bottom of the 2nd. Chris Stewart and Alan Dunn back with you at Sewell Thomas Stadium in Tuscaloosa. We're in the bottom of the second inning. 2 outs, Alabama on top 3-0. All of that secondary at the moment to an injury break. That is Scott Kennedy, the home plate umpire, who was hit by a foul ball. We continue to watch them attend to him, and we'll give you an update when we come back. Well, a good sight. Scott Kennedy, our plate umpire today, struck by a foul ball and appeared to be, frankly, knocked unconscious for a moment. Got hit on a foul ball straight back, caught the mask, knocked it off. The force did, and then as he fell back, appeared to hit his head on the artificial turf. And you see Rob Vaughn there talking with one of the other umpires for today, as we'll now wait. And I'm not certain of the rule whether it'll be the first base umpire James Ainsworth, who is scheduled to work tomorrow's game, or if it's Michael Snover, who's been our third base umpire, that will shift over. But you know, tough for those guys as well, because that's one of their teammates, and to see him go down, I mean, it's such a dangerous game for everybody, Alan, and to see somebody go down like that. We were thankful that not long after he hit the artificial surface, we did see Scott moving, and but they were being very, very careful. Both Alabama's athletic trainer Sean Stryker and Jack Linforth of Vanderbilt there rapidly, along with both head coaches and other personnel to make sure as best they could that Scott Kennedy was okay, and the fact that he's able to walk off the field on his own power, obviously not in a position to continue the ball game, but we'll get further evaluation here in the training room here at Sewell Thomas Stadium and attended to, but that is a very scary sight, but thankful that it ended with him walking off on his own power. Again, we are in the bottom half of the second inning. It's 3-0 Alabama, and play will resume when we come back. Well, we've had a understandably pretty lengthy delay. First from Scott Kennedy, the home plate umpire. He was struck by a foul ball off the bat of the man who's still at the plate for Alabama, and Brennan Holt. Foul ball straight back, and couldn't tell if it caught him in the mask or just below it, but the velocity of forced him to fall back, and it looked like initially that he fell back and hit his head on the artificial turf, which may have been what knocked him out cold, or we're not sure if he was cold before. We're going to get a look at a little of this, and you see right there, I think it was when he bent over to pick up the mask, he was already out before he hit the ground, and I think we were very concerned that the fall itself may do damage to him also. But thankfully, again, trainers were there very, very quickly. And again, it is such a tough call on whether you show things like that. But since Scott's able to walk off on his own power, felt like it was fair to be able to show and tell the full story. And so thankful that he's okay and that he's obviously tough as nails that he was able to walk away from that, because good grief, Alan, if you play the game any length of time, you've been hit by one of those things.
I have not, but I've seen enough of those when those catchers take it off the mask and you see just their faculties kind of get out of whack, and then they go through the protocol. But I can only imagine, just like taking an uppercut from, let's say, one of those heavyweight fighters. You've seen them hit guys and they go down, and that's what it looked like. They took a ball right underneath the chin, or a punch right underneath the chin. But as you said, thankfully walked off, and we got great people looking after him, and so
I had that happen. I've had that happen, but I was 11 years old the last time it did, and it explains a lot. For me. So, in all seriousness, glad that Scott is apparently okay. Anthony Perez taking over behind the plate, as he will call that a strike, and the count goes to 1-2. It is very interesting, though, to watch the pitchers adjust to what is now a new in-game strike zone.
It is,
frankly.
And there's a lot to that as a pitcher, because we talked about early in the game that low fastball was getting called for both Stillman and Zane Adams, and now you got to figure out, if you're hitters, where are we going to be able to go to and get those calls, and definitely going to get that called.
No question. Beautiful breaking ball from Stillman as the bottom of the second comes to a close. Still 3-0 Alabama. One of the top coaches in college baseball, certainly over the last 2+ decades. An amazing run in Nashville, a pair of national championships, 5 Omaha appearances, the longest active D1 streak in the country with 19 consecutive regionals. You see the all-time, or the 35 years, I should say, prior to Tim Corbin's arrival. Didn't go to Omaha, only 3 regionals. And of course, when it becomes a scholarship sport, and was at that time period we're referencing, but the last 23 with him as the Commodore of the ship, pun intended, it has been very, very good for Vanderbilt.
You know, Chris, at the time at LSU for myself, and the 10 years that I was there, you always knew it was going to be, you're going to be facing them at some point, whether it was the SEC tournament or potentially if you were to get to Omaha. And it's just, that's an unbelievable run when you think of the number of postseason play or postseason appearances at 19 and consecutively, and just the accolades are very much earned, and you see them continuing to try to do it this season.
Fastball missing, or the breaking ball, excuse me, missing down. And the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mike Mancini. .312 hitter all the year, batting second in the order. But leading things off here in the Vanderbilt third. Fisted towards center field, but almost in his tracks. Able to make the grab, Bryce Fowler, for out number 1. So 1 gone, and Brody Johnston coming to the plate. He singled his first at bat. Commodores have gotten runners aboard in each of the first 2 frames. In fact, they left them loaded in the second. As that breaking ball misses low. 1 ball, no strikes. Again, talk about how the dynamic changes on the bases. The crews are used to working the 4-man crew, but now with Scott Kennedy out because of the shot he took on that foul ball, it changes for them, doesn't it?
It does. The rotations change, and I think definitely a lot more communication among them as runners get on, and just the dynamics and the mechanics of who goes where. And so they're going to be reminding each other, probably even more so now than they would with the 4-man crew.
Anthony Perez obviously not having to cover 2 spots there. We
that
failed
would be
to
a little
take
tough, wouldn't it?
We failed to take him out. Well, that's going to be straight, but the rotation still involves Michael Snover at third base and James Ainsworth at first. And we were discussing on air and among ourselves during a break what that may look like, but it makes sense that that's the guy you take second base, because you're going to leave that bag at least pitch by pitch unmanned, so to speak, as far as your crew is concerned, so it doesn't change anything for anybody except that one specific umpire.
Exactly. And you know, it hasn't been a long time that you've had a 4-man crew. You know, usually in SEC it was always a 3-man crew, and then they went to that 4th man, and which I think was something that was a great move. Listen, with all the technology and reviews and wanting to get things right, why wouldn't you have another set of eyes and being able to make those calls that are just going to make the game cleaner and more efficient?
Payoff, chopped foul, and it stays at 3 balls and 2 strikes. One gone, nobody aboard as Zane Adams gets ready to throw his 56th pitch of the game, and it is swung on and missed as he records strikeout number 5 on the afternoon. And we were scheduled to play this one at night tonight, but with the threat of rain, they've moved it up, and Alabama off to a quick start in this one.
You know, one thing, you look at Adams, as that was his 57th pitch, and here we are in the top of the 3rd with 2 out. Vanderbilt's done a good job of getting him to go deep, even though he's getting some punch outs and getting some outs. The pitch count has kind of is elevated. So you'd love to see him be able to get a few quick outs, and because that's just going to help him as we get, because we talked about it early in the game. You'd love to see him get you through 6 innings, because that's going to not put too much taxing on the bullpen.
Holcomb rolls it left side. Nice job, Torres, cutting it off, but the throw will get away from Vaughn as the one hopper was too tough to handle. That'll be an interesting ruling, because it was a heck of a play on the part of Torres to get there. And I know it's a tough call at this level, Do you penalize a guy for making a good play on one end, and it is going to be a base hit?
Yeah, he's going way to his left, and then he has to make this turn, and then really throwing blindly, and really the short hop, he probably has a chance to make that pick, but looked like Vaughn kind of got himself out there a little bit too extended, and they just couldn't come up with it.
I was going to ask, does that happen? To me, it seems like it happens a lot where the first baseman almost commits too soon.
Yeah, I think if in watching him, if you look at that play again, I think he's thinking that the ball's going to stay down in the dirt, and it took that one hop up, and now he's really in that old saying, he's in no man's land, because that ball had that hop and he just really couldn't do anything with it. But listen, nice play by Torres, just couldn't finish it off. But with 2 outs, infield single, you got a really good chance to get out of this thing without anything further happening.
John Stone knocks it past Torres and down the line. Hines gets to it in a hurry, keeping Holcomb at second, but now the Commodores have got something going with the tying run coming to the plate in Barzy here in the top half of inning number 3.
It's like just a fastball that was away, he stayed on. Great job of hitting, just served it in there. And it wasn't extremely hit hard, but just out of the reach. And again, Vanderbilt is this year especially, their offense has been prolific in keeping innings going, and a lot of times you just put the ball in play and you give yourself a chance for good things to happen. And they've just moved the ball in kind of that right spot. And now you're Adams. You need to find a way to make a big pitch here to keep runners at bay.
0-2. Adams, the veteran, just going back to work. As his next pitch will be the 65th of the ball game. And he does get out of the inning unscathed. Nice job again on the part of Adams. Third straight frame that Vanderbilt's got runners aboard. But for the third straight, Adams makes sure they hit nothing across.
Here's that slider. Down, top to bottom, dirt, swing and miss. Great pitch ending the inning.
First inning, big for Alabama. Eric Hines, a 2-run shot, followed one batter later by John Lim. Consecutive at-bats with long balls for him. He was the walk-off winner last night. The solo shot, his second in about, 15 hours. Getting it done for the Tide, helping them take a 3-0 lead that they enjoy right now. And again, a lot of home runs being hit this weekend, Alan Dunn.
Yes, there have been, and there's one thing about it. If the ball's going over the fence, it's hard to make plays on those. So a lot of offense last night with the homer. We see it again today. But we also had very good pitching in last night's ball game. You look at there was Alabama struck out 7, Vanderbilt struck out 12. We only had 4 walks in the ball game, so it was a very clean game in a lot of ways. The long ball just reared its head and runs on the board, and we're seeing the same thing today. But I think this game's a long way from being over. We're only here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Yeah, we've seen already close to 70 pitches being thrown by Adams, and that one smoked into the gap in left center field, and that one's going to get to the wall, and that's going to mean 2 and maybe 3. LeBron's going to go for it. Here comes the relay. It is late. And that is why that young man is so highly regarded. The unbelievable explosiveness. When he saw Rigdon bobble it in center field, Alan, there was no doubt in his mind he was going to head for 3rd.
First off, the swing was that ball was elevated. The quickness of the bat drove it in the gap. And look at him right here. That's another gear. Look at the length of the strides. And then head first in there. Runner on 3rd with nobody out. And you're right, Chris. That's why the guy is, I mean, he's a 5-tool player. We've said it. Even though he may have some struggles, but you cannot dismiss the tool set that he brings to the game in and game out.
They're ruling it a double and an E8 that allows LeBron to take 3rd base. But there's not a high percentage of guys that are even going to try that, are they?
No, he saw that ball when it got to the gap, and he saw the little bobble, so the instincts, and then trusting his ability and knowing that he had an extra gear to get to 3rd base.
Here's the added piece of that as the count goes to 2-1 to Brady Neal. The outfielders were already playing deep. They didn't have to go as far as they might ordinarily in order to get to that baseball. As Neal tried to get that one to the outfield or maybe beyond the outfield wall, but sees the count now stand at 2-2. Breaking ball just misses, and now it's full.
You know that saying, speed never goes into a slump, and that's just one of the things that, and it just puts so much pressure on you from a defensive standpoint. And he utilizes his skill set to the top of the ladder.
So with nobody out and Neal drawing the walk to put men on the corners, what are you doing here with Bryce Fowler?
Listen, we've seen Rob Vaughn do the safety squeeze, get the ball down to manufacture runs, and you're seeing a guy, and you know Bryce Fowler can handle the bat. We know he's a leadoff guy. He can handle the bat. You could see him. You could see a lot of different things with him in this situation. So I'm not putting anything by Coach Vaughn, because he knows the importance. When you have a chance to score runs, he is going to take that.
See that Alabama, while they've got some pop in the lineup offensively, they also can play some small ball. The 4th in the SEC number there in stolen bases. They're not going to back out of the plate on a pitch that's inside, and they'll lay down a bunt on you as well. Upper half in sack bunts as well. So Fowler, who singled his first time up, takes ball 1 down and away. He did indeed single. If you weren't here, he just ripped the cover off of it. If you were here, you know I'm saying it in jest. That one is popped down the left field line. If it's caught, LeBron's going to tag. And it will be out of play, I believe, or was it dropped in foul territory? I think it was dropped by the left fielder who collided with that wall. Holcomb. Yeah, it's not often you win battles with brick walls. And that's a tough guy, but that one got him pretty good. No fear, great effort. I got a feeling he's going to be scuffed up pretty good, but got over there and ran right out of real estate. So 1 ball, 1 strike to Fowler. Again, trying to go the opposite way. Has a count at 1-2. In all seriousness, in his first at bat, Vanderbilt had the shift on, and he had a swing that was didn't produce a very hard hit ball, but it was to the perfect spot on the left side of the infield toward third, where there was no third baseman. 2 balls, 2 strikes now.
This is one of the things that Fowler brings. He has such discipline in the play, and this year especially, he has not gone out of the strike zone very much to chase, and I think he's going to get a pitch to hit in this at bat.
Unfortunately for him and the Tide, he comes up empty. Good cut. He was trying to go the opposite way again.
He was, and that ball was elevated. If you see again, look at the top of the zone, just running away from him that he just couldn't do anything with, and that was a great pitch by Stillman to climb the ladder, because again, you're looking for punch outs with a runner on third in less than 2, and he has strikeout ability, and that was a very big case of that 92 up at the top of the zone.
Hines with the 2-run shot in his first at bat. Taps that one foul. Talk to me about how much it helps him in terms of getting a pitch that he may like, given the fact that red hot John Lim is right behind him.
Yeah, this kind of pick your poison here if you're Stillman. One thing with Eric Hines, as you see him, he's coming up and he's very aggressive. He doesn't want to get deep down in the count. That's one of the things you look at. There is some strikeout in him, but he's trying to do his damage early in the count, especially when he sees that first pitch heater. He wants to do damage with it.
A ball and a strike to the Tuscaloosa native, just a freshman out of American Christian Academy here in town. And that one got away from the lefty. Stillman fortunate that his catcher Reynolds did a heck of a job of getting some leather on that, or Bama would have had a run in and a man at second.
The only thing that you may look at here with a 2-1 count, and we've already seen what Hines can do, you do have Lim, who is a lefty on deck, that you might like your percentages. It doesn't matter, because he's going to find a way to get the ball in the green grass.
He just muscled that one there, didn't he?
He did. He's a strong man.
4-0 Alabama as LeBron scores on the RBI single.
It looked like, again, it was either a cutter or a fastball that just got in on his belt line. Again, fastball, look at this, stayed inside it, and you're right, he is so strong. He fought that ball off, and it finds the green grass, and it's so fun to watch the development of a young player.
What is that, 6 RBIs in the last 4 at-bats for that young man?
Yeah, and what's so important is he waited his time to get in the lineup, and he stayed in the lineup.
Salim, who's homered in his last 2 at-bats, takes a pitch away, and it's 2-0. He's sitting on go, isn't he?
He is. And listen, Johnny Lim, he came to Alabama after playing at Southern Illinois, and he had 19 homers, so he knows how to hit the ball in the seats. And his home run numbers have just continued to climb. He's at 8 now. He is a strong young man too. And you make a mistake here in this count, I wouldn't be surprised. 3-0, he's getting the swing if it's anywhere close to the zone.
Brisbane, Australia. The home for John Lim, and he takes ball 4 right there. I'm not shocked. They weren't giving him first. they were making real sure they didn't give him anything good to hit.
Yeah, and then when you're looking at managing a lineup, if you're Vanderbilt, and it looks like they're going to take the trainer out here to see what's going on with Stillman. He has not been sharp today, but we've already talked about he's only had 5 appearances, and whether it's an injury related or it's just not on his A game.
Well, he's thrown 64 pitches. He threw 15 in his debut 2 games ago. I think he was around 30. Well, excuse me, he went 3 2/3
with 6 punch outs. So you know the number might have got up there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 3 2/3, couple of hits, 6 strikeouts against 4th-ranked team in America, and threw 71 in that one. I would be surprised if he went too much above 80, but they also want to make sure that he's feeling good at 64, because that 65th could be bad news if he's not. So here's Jason Torres, who struck out his first at bat. And now Tim Corbin's going to go ahead and make a move. He may have felt like the lefty was all right physically, but from a baseball standpoint, he wants to make a move right here, and understandably so, as he's got a right-hander ready in the bullpen and a righty due up for the Crimson Tide. It's already 4-0 Bama. They'd love to double it when we come back. Stillman, in his 3rd start for Vandy, had some really good moments, as you see right here. When he was on, but he made a couple of mistakes. A 2-run homer. Derek Hines, the solo rocket to John Lim in the 1st. He also has given up a run here in the 3rd inning. And giving way now to Brennan Cyber, making his 15th appearance on the year.
Brendan Cyber, you look at those numbers there, got the 20 punch outs and the 17 walks, which is a little high number for innings pitched, but he's a guy that's going to work 88-91 with a 5-pitch mix, and he's in that situation now. Your bases loaded, 1 out, tough spot to come in.
Facing Jason Torres, who, as we told you, struck out his first time up. Senior's hitting .233. And that one almost got to the backstop. Resetting things for you. Neal is the runner at 3rd, Hines at 2nd, Lim at 1st.
One thing Cyber is, he has the ability to get the ground ball. He's at almost 56% ground ball pitch. So something if you're looking for, if you're Vanderbilt, you'd love to get that ground ball to possibly get out of this inning with a double play. But right now Torres is in a hitter's count 2-0, and I've got to believe you might see his jersey come untucked if there's something in the hitting zone on this swing.
Good eye as that one slipped outside. And Bama's another wild one away from this being a 5-0 ball game. The 3-0. And that's nowhere close, and frankly wasn't very close with any of the four. So interesting. Vanderbilt down 4-0, and no activity at the moment in the bullpen. Only one out of the inning. And the Tide with 2 runs in, and the bases still loaded. Luke Vaughn coming to the plate, who grounded out his last time up, and Vanderbilt would love a repeat of that. It was what would have been a tailor-made double play if it were to have taken place in this spot. This ball strike splits the heart there, and it's 0-1.
And this has been something that's been uncharacteristic of a Vanderbilt pitching staff on the season. Just trying to find a bullpen that the guys can come in and consistently throw the ball in the strike zone. That's something that's plagued them, and trying to find the right guy. And as he gets that pitch that you just alluded to that they needed, and he gets out of it with a double play ground ball.
Tailor-made from, again, what occurred ground ball wise in Vaughn's first at bat. Vandy's able to minimize the damage, but Bama tacks on 2 more to build the lead to 5-0. Left-hander Zane Adams getting the start today for the Crimson Tide, as usual in Game 2 of the series, and as usual, really doing a nice job on the bump.
I love the mixing and matching of his pitches. He's getting punch-outs on the slider, the changeup, and the heater. And when he's been pitching down, which he has primarily in this ball game, he's been able to make some big pitches, especially getting out of the bases loaded jam. So he's done a really nice job to this point with the 6 punches in 3 innings of work.
Facing the bottom third of the order for Vandy as Rustin Rigdon leads it off and takes the off speed for strike 1. If you're just joining us and you look out and go, hey, we're missing an umpire, you're right. Scott Kennedy back in the 2nd inning took a foul ball off the mask and really was shaken up for a good bit. And we're down to a 3-man crew with Anthony Perez now calling balls and strikes. James Ainsworth at first and Michael Snover is at third base. 1-1, right back up the middle and through for a base hit. And the Doors get the leadoff man aboard here in the fourth. You know, this is a case where getting base runners has not been a problem. It is the first time, I believe. Check that. Second time the leadoff man has reached. But Vanderbilt's not been able to get a man across as of yet. Tommy Gooden stands in for Tim Corbin's squad. He walked his first at bat. Must have been high, and it's 2-0.
And if you're Vanderbilt, you're trying to help Adams accumulate pitches in this part of the ball. We're in the fourth. He's already at 70 pitches, and you want to try to find some way, if you're Vanderbilt, to get into that Alabama bullpen and fighting off pitches, as you talked about, getting the leadoff hitter on, and they're fouling off tough pitches. So they're making Adams work, and he's been up to the task as he's made some big pitches, as we talked about it. But if you're Vanderbilt, that's where you just want to continue to peck away and try to get in that bullpen.
Another off speed that misses, and the count goes to 3-1. It's a big pitch right here. Adams working with the 5-0 advantage, but a man on, and a good lead at first for Rigdon. That one's lifted foul out of play. So last night, Tommy Gooden gave it a ride over the right field wall for Vanderbilt. About that third row of the terrace. Not an easy place to put it. Here comes the payoff. And that one's fisted toward left. Hines coming in. He cannot make the play. That'll be an E7. And boy, he had a tough time tracking that one, it seemed, from the start, and a tough break for Adams in the Tide right there.
I'm not sure if he saw it off the bat as we take another look, and did he? I think he may have taken a step back and then came in, and then did, and when you're making that move like that, sometimes you get on your heels and that ball will start jumping on you, and that's what it looked like. It just couldn't secure the out, and that's one of the things, again, we've talked about. The Alabama defense has been something that that has plagued them in some recent games, and you've got to find a way now, if you're to pick Adams up, or Adams pick a teammate up, make a pitch. Maybe you get a double play ground ball, maybe you get an out, but it's picking up a teammate right here and making some big pitches.
Bunt, a good one. Adams' only play will be to first. He makes it in time for the out, but 2 men in scoring position now with one gone for Vanderbilt. Yeah, Alabama now with 68 errors on the year, 28 of those coming in conference play. Their fielding percentage was only at .960 coming into this game. They have been their own worst enemy at the time, or at times, I should say. Top of the order, and Riker Waite, he fists this one towards shallow right, and a good play by the second baseman Holt for a big second out, but that makes the line out to left sting that much more. That should have been out number 3.
Yes, but what a great job by Adams. We talked about it. Listen, when you're a team and you're trying to pick a guy next to you up, you try to do everything you can, because you know nobody feels worse than Eric Hines on that play. So now Adams, his focus is to make pitches. He gets the out on the bunt. Now he makes a great pitch to get 2 outs. Now you can't let up, and you got to get the cleat on their throat now and get that 3rd out.
Vandy had him loaded in the second with 1 out, couldn't score. Had 2 on with 1 out in the 3rd inning. Couldn't score. What will happen here with Mike Mancini standing in? Nice job laying off and pitching the dirt as it evens at 1-1. Again, Rigdon led things off with a base hit up the middle. An E7. Put Tommy Gooden on. Sack bunt moves him over. Now a breaking ball gets the count to 1-2 to Mancini. After Riker Waite popped out. See the numbers that have told a sad story so far for Vanderbilt. The reason they are scoreless at the moment. That could change right here. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And that's the pitch that I've seen Zane Adams with today. That has been a pitch that has really taken his game up. And today he's been able to get that breaking ball down in the dirt with some late juice on it. And that's something that has been his go-to pitch.
Popped up. Torres says he has it. And he does. That was not routine, but he battled a little breeze. And Adams gets out of another jam. 5-0 Bama. Home half of the 4th. Overcast day in Tuscaloosa. In fact, we were supposed to play tonight, but moved up because of the threat of rain this evening in West Alabama. Welcome back to Sewell Thomas Stadium. I'm Chris Stewart alongside Alan Dunn as Alabama enjoys a 5-0 lead. They haven't been in shutdown mode on the hill, but Zane Adams has done a great job of getting off the hook in every inning so far. One man reached in the 1st with 2 out, left him at first base. Doors loaded him in the 2nd and 4th innings, couldn't get anything across, and left men at 1st and 2nd in the 3rd. Bama, meanwhile, with 2 home runs in this one, excuse me, helping them to the 5-0 lead, as this one is going to be a pop out over at first base. Nice job by Vanderbilt's Tommy Gooden for out number 1. First full inning of relief for Cyber, who came on in the last inning. Brennan Holt takes ball 1 low and away. The 9-hole hitter for the Tide, 0 for 1, having struck out his first time up.
Holt's been done a tremendous job hitting in the 9-hole. No, yesterday they moved him up to the leadoff spot, and he's done that a few times in the season. But when he's been in that 9-hole, he's done a nice job as he hits that 4-3 here. But he's done a good job there because he's almost like another leadoff hitter hitting in a 9-hole because he's going to take his walks, he can run and all that. But I think they're still mixing and matching and trying to find what's that lineup that they feel like that they can go with down the rest of the way. And I think with Holt in that 9 spot, I think they're going to settle on that, I think.
Swinging and fouling off the first pitch, Justin LeBron, who doubled and made his way to third base on an error on the play by Rigdon.
And I think he's kind of in that mode we just talked about Holt, because, you know, he's been hitting 2, he's hit 3, now he's in the leadoff spot. And I think Coach Vaughn is just trying to, what is the combination that we're going to be able to go out with the rest of these, you know, 2 weekends left in conference, and what's going to be the way, and what might get LeBron going, as we saw there in that last at bat where he hits that ball in the gap, and maybe that's something that gets him going in this spot in the lineup.
Chopper foul. It's counted a ball and 2 strikes.
Because it's really comforting to know you got a guy hitting leadoff that he can put you up 1-0 with 1 swing. He can hit a double, he can hit a triple, he can steal you a base. I mean, he does a lot of things that obviously him hitting one in the 1 hole can do to propel your offense to get to that middle part of the lineup.
So has a pretty good eye too, as he took that one just off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, nobody aboard. An excuse me swing and a good play by Gooden to get the final out. So Bama goes in order in the 4th. When we come back, we'll talk with a guy who has been really good this year for the Tide, in Tyler Fay. Welcome back to Tuscaloosa as they drag the infield middle of the game. The usual procedure, as is an opportunity for us to visit with a participant either in today's game or last night, as was the case. Tyler Fay, the right-hander. Another great outing for the Crimson Tide. Tyler, it's Chris Stewart alongside Alan Dunn. Thanks for the time, and tell me about what today is like. Game 2 every week for you. Walk me through what that day looks like for a pitcher.
Yeah, so I come to the field and kind of just chill out for a little bit. I do my tempo runs and a little bit of recovery work, and then I pretty much just mess around in the dugout for the whole game, which is pretty fun. I like that part about it.
Fully understand it.
That's awesome. Hey, Tyler, take us through last night. Obviously, you stayed in there, you battled couple of big long balls early, but listen, pitching's about staying in the grind. Tell us about your mindset of what you felt like in that ball game and how you felt like you were able to get through it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to execute every pitch. Obviously, a couple of those early just kind of left fastballs middle and up. And I think as the game went on, I was able to kind of get dialed in and get the ball lower in the zone and start executing 2 strike pitches a little bit better too. But yeah, I mean, I don't really care too much about results when I'm out there. I just try to execute the pitch that's called, and yeah, hopefully don't give up too many more homers, but it is what it is, I guess.
Everybody talked about you when you threw the first no-hitter for Alabama since the 40s. Unbelievable effort, but it's not like you've really struggled since that time. You've been able to pitch consistently. How have you been able to do it? And talk about how, even though there have been a couple of dips, that particular weekend seemed to really jumpstart this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think something like that, just any sort of big game, kind of gives everyone confidence. And obviously the bats were really hitting for a while there, and they've been heating up a little bit more this weekend too. So I think just the confidence to show that we can kind of go out and beat anyone just kind of helps the whole team get fired up. And yeah, just trying to play consistent baseball right now.
Tyler, last one for me. So here you are at this part of the season, probably more innings than you've pitched consistently. How are you feeling physically, and what do you think is going to be the next thing that's got to, like, okay, get you to the end?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm feeling pretty good, honestly. Yeah, this is the most innings I've ever pitched in a season, I think, ever, even going back to, like, high school stuff. So, yeah, I mean, definitely gets to be a little bit of a grind, but this is the point in the season where it gets a little bit more exciting, too. So I think that that energy boost of just looking forward to finishing out the year strong and going on a little run here has been giving me and a lot of the guys a lot of juice.
How much, if any, do you guys collectively talk about what's in front of you? There's work to be done, but you're in a great spot for a regional and much bigger things, and perhaps an easier path in a regional, as your teammates here are going to get a little 6-4-3.
Oh,
no.
I think he's out there. Yeah, we're challenging that for sure. He's definitely out right there.
I know you would ask for that if you were you were on the hill and your teammates are doing that. But yeah, talk to me about what this stretch can look like and what you guys are talking about with this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't look too far ahead, because if you look,
safe, call is under further review.
If you look ahead and say, like, hey, we got to win this series, got to win this next series, you can kind of not focus on what's happening right now. So I think just focusing one game at a time and trying to go out and execute our process every game. We look up in 3 weeks and we're in a good spot. So that's kind of what we're talking about right now, what we're focusing on.
Tyler, thanks. Always good to talk
After
to
review,
you. Congratulations.
Out.
There we go.
Alabama has 2 challenges remaining.
Great call.
There we go. Great call.
Great call. Nice job on your part. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tyler.
Tyler Fay, the right-hander for the University of Alabama. One of the things we were talking is we look again at the replay. And the correct overturn on that one. Great job by our SEC Network crew here in Tuscaloosa to show you that. But as that one's going to get rolled up the middle and through for Johnstone. And a Commodore base hit, keeping this top of the 5th inning alive.
You look up.
JJ was talking about how solid and consistent the guy is day in and day out.
Absolutely, and he if you look at that game last night, so he goes 6 1/3, and you turn it over to Heiberger. He took them the rest of the way. You used 2 arms on a Friday night, and you got the win. Critical part as you're trying to win a series.
1-run game.
And now Adams, here he is in the 5th. He gets a big double play ball, and he's given up 8 hits. He's scattered 8 hits, but they've all been the single variety. So he hasn't, given up the big one or given up an extra base hit, and he has a 5-0 lead. So his job is to continue to fill up this strike zone and not give them free bases. That's the only thing gets them back in the game.
I'd love to see him get Barzy in quickly to see if he can give him another inning, because that was just his 92nd pitch. I say just. It's already to that, but you'd like to leave a little buffer of 15 to 20 maybe for the next frame, and you don't want to push that.
And I think if you're Coach Jason Jackson and looking at Adams, and you're going to say, okay, we're going to look at the pitch count, but we're going to see how taxing has it been, how stressful. You're going to look at him in the face and say, how much you have left in the tank. They're going to let him empty the tank, whether it's, hey, he gets to X number of pitches, but it's going to be how efficient he is, and this is going to be huge to help him get right back in the dugout.
Big indeed, as we'll probably see Adams for another frame. Bama leading it by 5 midway through. Five nothing Alabama going to the home half of the fifth. The top half, the only one where Vandy hasn't really challenged though offensively. Here's what's on tap for the weekend. Top 10 matchup in College Station. Meanwhile in Austin, same thing. Mississippi State facing the Horns. The Aggies hosting the Auburn Tigers. Great baseball every weekend in the SEC as that one is smoked, but positioned perfectly was Mancini to get Brady Neal. One pitch, one gone here in the Alabama fifth.
Next up for the Crimson Tide, the center fielder, number 9, Bryce Fowler.
Bryce Fowler up for the third time, a single and a strikeout so far for the Bama center fielder as he takes strike one. Again, hitting third in the order. Chops that one foul as count quickly moves to 0-2, and Brendan Seibert getting into a bit of a groove since he came on in relief in the third inning. Was a really good pitch, but it was just a tad outside the zone as the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes.
You know, Bryce Fowler's coming off of a great weekend at UT series where he was 5 for 11, and he continues to swing the bat in the SEC. He's hitting .365 in the SEC with 3 homers. And when you're trying to determine an overall year, obviously the conference stats, they're going to jump right out at you, and he has just had a great season in both conference and non-conference.
2 pitches back to back that easily could have been strike 3, but just getting a piece of both to extend the at bat. Fowler 6'2", 200, 5th-year senior. He's out of Madison, Mississippi. Good eye taking that one. Pearl River Community College in Southern Miss. Collegiate stops for Fowler before he arrived in Tuscaloosa. Down and away.
Another thing that just is so evident in his game is he's a .287 lifetime hitter in college baseball, and his strikeout percentage and his walk percentage is almost 1-to-1.
Ripped down the line. That's a fair ball, and it's going to be extra bases. Fowler's digging for second. Let's see if he's going to head for three. Nope, going to slam on the brakes.
He wanted to take that.
Boy, he did,
didn't he? He had that look in his eye. Well, it looks like he had that look in his eye.
Yeah.
I can't quite see it from up here, but if you'll see him get to the second base bag, he's got a cutter. That ball's a cutter in. Look at how he pulls his hands in and just drives it down the line, and he is off to the races right here. And he gets to second, and he's wanting to go to third, but wisely, he checked up.
He did, and yet both he and LeBron are guys that just put so much pressure on outfielders on plays like that, as Hines fouls that one off the instep. And the count's 0-1. He slugged his second home run of the series in his first at bat. In fact, he's 2 for 2. A 2-run shot in the first, an RBI single in the third as he muscled it into left field. Looking for another RBI.
You know, isn't it fun as a fan and as a broadcaster when you watch LeBron and Fowler, when they take off and they start getting into that mode of the strides are working? It's a beautiful thing to watch athletic people do their thing. And
well, we tend to think of speed so much, or I do, just in terms of stolen bases.
Yes.
But guys running down line drives in the outfield, guys taking an extra base, those are the plays that to me are about as exciting as it gets.
And that's one of the things, if you're going to play on a Rob Vaughn team, you have to have that aggressive first to third, going on a ball that's in the dirt, stolen base, bunt. You've got to be able to buy into that philosophy, and then you have to go out to execute it. And they take on the identity of their head coach and how they play the offensive game of baseball, and they're very, very aggressive. And I love that, of watching guys that do that type game.
Well, it forces you to be locked in on every single pitch.
Yeah.
And again, that's to the mentality of the coach. It's part of what I think they were frustrated by last night with the hidden ball trick that didn't work. And, you know, he loved the fact that John Lim owned the mistake of getting tricked on that. And then what does the kid do? Comes back and hits a walk-off home run to win the game.
You talk so much about being able to wash adversity from your mind, and that was, I guess, the epitome of that last night is, hey, you know you're going to come up again at some point in the game. Can you redeem yourself, and can you stay locked in? And obviously John Lim was the hero in what he did, and so I just love. And the other thing I love is Coach Vaughn lets them be who they are in terms of, hey, can you run? He's never going to chastise a guy from being overly aggressive. I should say be critical or coaching them in a negative way.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Hines, and again, a throw to second. Trying to keep Fowler close to the bag. Brennan Cyber working with 1 out in a 2-2 count. Yeah, a heck of a pitch right there. Got Hines to chase it. Couldn't connect. And there are 2 out.
And here's that pitch. It's that slider that's just is going to be out of the zone. Great located pitch with depth on it. And that's the pitch that Hines is going to learn to be able to hopefully take at certain parts of his career. The more he sees that pitch, he learns the strike zone. But that was a great pitch by Cyber to get him to chase out of the zone with 1 out and a runner in scoring position.
Well hit to left, but only warning track power on that one as Holcomb camps out under it. And the side is retired. Bama got a man in scoring position, but couldn't get him in. Still leading, though, 5-0. Along with Alan Dunn, I'm Chris Stewart. 5-0 Alabama leading Vanderbilt. Tide trying to win a series today from the doors, and a big reason why they're in this spot, the effort so far of the starter, Zane Adams.
You look at Zane Adams, look at his last start, 5 1/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs. In that outing against UT, he had 4 walks and the 7 hits, and that was where the runs came from. Today, 5 innings pitched. He scattered 8 singles. He's only had 1 walk, and he's had 6 punch-outs. He's in, and he's been able to make big pitches in critical situations. Bases loaded, 1 out, gets out of it. Runners at second and third, and 1 out and gets out of it. He's made some big pitches, and that's why the Tide's got a 5-0 lead.
There is activity in the Bama bullpen. At the first sign of trouble, Jason Jackson has options. Again, for those of you listening, maybe not quite as familiar, going, I thought Rob Vaughn was the head coach. He is, but he lets Jason Jackson make those determinations, and pitching coach awfully good at it. A little chopper to LeBron makes it look easy. And again, for whatever reason, the routine play hasn't always been the routine play this year for LeBron. But Bama loves seeing him start to heat up both offensively and defensively.
And you see Adams there, 3-pitch, ground ball out, and you'd love to see him, if he could keep that, you'd love to see him do that 2 more times. But if you'd love to see, hey, keep that pitch count in that 15. There's a great job. Now he's only had 4 pitches and 2 outs.
Yeah.
You love to see that.
Would they consider extending it to the 7th if he gets this in the next 2-3 pitches, and he's only at 100 or 101 going to the next frame?
This is when I really had my times to struggle as a pitching coach, because I'm thinking that when they sent him back out for this inning,
I think we may have gotten our answer. Deep fly ball to left, and it is caught. And maybe we don't. I thought that one was going to get out of the yard, but a heck of a play by Hines.
let's visit on that when we come back.
We can. Still 5-0 Alabama. 3 in the first, 2 in the third. And some outstanding pitching from Zane Adams sprinkled all throughout this one, leading the Tide to the 5-0 advantage. Yes, Vanderbilt's out-hit Alabama 8-6, but as we documented a half inning ago, Alan, it's been a heck of an effort once he's gotten in a little bit of trouble to make sure he comes away unscathed.
And you look at that, the pitch count. He's getting right at 100.
There's a hard hit, grounder through for a base hit. Torres jumping on the first pitch that he sees from Brennan Cyber in this frame, and in the bottom of the 6th inning, it's a leadoff single for the Crimson Tide.
And on that Zane Adams trail, he's at 100, close to it. And really, with the exception of the inning when he had the bases loaded and got out of that jam, and then the second and third with one out, he has virtually been out of trouble. And so now you're trying to decide, here he is, do you send him back in the 7th? And I know that Coach Vaughn and Coach Jackson talked about this prior to the 6th of, okay, where are we with him, and what are we seeing with our eyes? What are we feeling when we talk to him, and what does he look like? I'm not going to be surprised if he's not going back out there in the 7th.
Look, it's how you arrive at the number, isn't it? I mean, his last 2 frames have been his 2 lowest pitch counts. He'd given up base runners in each of the first 4. It's the 5th and the 6th that he hadn't allowed anybody to get anything done. And
if you want to go on history, Coach Jackson has allowed his starting pitchers to go as deep as they can. We've seen what Tyler Fay has, his whole season this year is he gets better as the game goes along. And I think here we are at Zane Adams. To your point, last 2 innings, very solid pitching, getting ahead, early count outs. I believe that you're probably going to send him, and now you may go take him and go hitter to hitter.
But here's another thing too, and I'm not trying to overanalyze this, but there's different things that factor in. It's 64 degrees right now. If this is 90 degrees and you're still thinking in your head, okay, we hope to have 2 more months to the season, let's not overdo this thing. It's a perfect day for this, to extend him a little bit.
That is a great point. And you know, when we
could be 2.
Yeah.
And it is.
Well, we'll have our answer.
We will indeed. Hadn't always been a quick game, but it has started to ramp up here in a hurry. Vandy getting it done on the hill as well. Mystery solved. Bama coaching staff saying, nice job, Zane Adams, but your day is done with 98 pitches thrown, and that's why we got Ashton Crowther taking the hill for the 13th time.
Ashton Crowther has done a phenomenal job coming in this role. He's been the kind of the long guy. He's been the short guy. Whatever they've asked of him, he's done a nice job. You look at the innings pitched, 24, got 17 punch outs. What jumps out is only giving up 6 walks. So he's making the teams earn what they get off of him. He's a guy, another veteran guy. University of Miami, University of South Carolina, here at Alabama. He's been thrust into these type roles, and he's not going to go out and wow you with stuff. He's a pitchability guy, gets some weak contact, and you'd love to see him. Right now, you're trying to collect outs. You need to get 27. He's the first part of continuing on that track.
We are 2/3 of the way through, but those last 3 can certainly change in a hurry if you're not careful. And here is Crowther facing the top of the order for the Commodores, Riker Waite, the shortstop, who is 0 for 3 today. Shows bunt, pushes it foul, first base side. Trying to put pressure on early and see what they can get started.
I think Riker Waite is going to be a nemesis for a lot of teams in this league. As we talked about him, he's still a young player, still trying to learn his way, but you just watch how he plays, and he's the guy that does that right there. I mean, he's just bat to ball skills, can go oppo, can pull the ball. He's going to get on the bases. He's going to make things happen. Just a really nice swing here. This looks like it's a fastball running away. Great job of staying. Look, his head stays right on that ball, shoots it into the to right field, and he's going to be doing that for a long time in this league.
Mike Mancini now coming to the plate. Nice job pulling the string right there. Sub 80 on that breaking ball to get it to 0-1. Mancini's lined out twice to center and popped out to third. See the numbers on the year, though, so dangerous, as that throw to first was dangerous as well. Nice job by Vaughn to get to it and keep the man at first. Boy, had him on his heels with that breaking ball, and the count goes to 0-2.
And you look at Mancini, he's ninth in the SEC with homers, so he's got the ability to hit the ball in the seats, as well as he can take his walks. He's sixth in the conference in walk percentage. So a veteran hitter that in a big part of the game for your Crowther, this is where you want to make your put away pitch with 2 strikes.
And he does indeed get it. Shift was on with 2 strikes, but he wasn't able to connect, and that's a big first out for Crowther and the Tide.
Great pitch, that breaking ball. Look at that. Look at that slider spin. Outside part of the plate that just it continues to run away from the bat. And a great pitch by Crowther. He did it by getting ahead and then executed his put away. Great job right there getting that first out.
Lifted down the right field line, foul territory, and into the seats. Johnson's the third baseman for the Doors.
And the Tide pitching has done a very good job early on, last night's game and early today, of kind of keeping him at bay. I mean, you look up here, he's got 14 homers, hitting .36. He's one of the best players in the league.
And I agree with what you're saying about keeping him at bay, and he still has 2 hits, but this is a little roller that's going to be the second out in the inning.
If he's hitting singles, you're circling that as a win,
right. Does get a man into scoring position, though, with 2 gone, and another very tough out coming to the plate in the left fielder in Braden Holcomb, cleanup hitter as well. Again, you got to be so careful because you're only a pitch away from this one tightening up in a hurry. That's how Alabama did it last night. Stuck around and got a 3-run shot from Hines to tie it in the 6th.
Because you look at Vanderbilt, I mean, Holcomb, 13 homers, Johnson, 14 homers. Hey, they've hit 100 home runs on the season. They're third in the Division I baseball with homers, so they can do it in a heartbeat.
This one is indeed well hit, but the park just big enough to hold it. Fowler tracking it down, and to tie it again gets off the hook. 5-0, bottom of the 7th.
Best conference tournament all of college baseball.
Run straight for the breakaway.
Let's get to Hoover.
Best baseball league in the country. Best tournament as well. It's all set to begin May 19th. All the SEC network, and a fun few days of baseball for sure, and the regular season equally enjoyable if you're not sweating the outcome. Chris Stewart, Alan Dunn, we're not having to sweat the outcome on it. We're just enjoying great baseball with you as Brennan Holt hits a hard hit ball to first, nicely fielded down there by Gooden, who makes the play for out number 1. Boy, we had a lot of offense really from both teams. Vanderbilt, I believe, with 8 hits through the first 4 frames, and men in scoring position just couldn't get one in. Bama 5 runs through the first 3, but it has really quieted down. We've had some balls hit hard, but deep parts of the ballpark and at people. And then right on cue, Justin LeBron does something different.
And that's a great sign. We saw him hit a ball in the gap that he blistered to get a double 2 innings ago. And now we see him go to Oppo, hits a ball hard to right field. That hopefully those are things, are good signs that Justin LeBron is starting to find his rhythm, his timing, his approach.
Right.
And then he's been able to have a really quick bat and to be able to do damage there with 1 out. And as we always say, he's in scoring position even at first base because of what he can do with his legs.
No question. To say that he has been a tough out when he does steal would be a massive understatement. Again, they'll throw to keep him close to the bag. There's a strike. 61 career stolen bases. Has him tied with David Tidwell for third most in a career at Alabama. That was coming into the weekend. You see what he's got now on the season at 35. Which now puts him all alone in third in career steals. There he goes again. And a heck of a throw, and they got him. Wow. Absolutely perfect. Laser delivered by Reynolds, the catcher. And Justin LeBron is gunned down.
That was a perfect executed play from the pitcher being quick to the plate, a ball that he could handle to have a really good throw on the outside part of the plate, and then the arm strength and accuracy. Well, we already said LeBron has not been thrown out until that time, so everything had to be perfect, and it was. Big out for the Doors too, down 5-0 to get the second out of the inning.
And again, all those throws over to first didn't allow him to cheat a little bit as he might have otherwise, and then the punch out ends the Alabama threat. So just like that, Vandy keeps it a 5-0 game. Good bit of offense early between these two squads, even though Vanderbilt has a goose egg on the board. You see the 9 hits, but the bulk of those came in the first 4 innings. Since that time, though, a lot of zeros, and the same for Alabama after putting up 5 through the first 3. Vanderbilt projected to be among the last 4 in right now. Alabama looked at as a high 2 seed with a chance to gain ground down the stretch. And of course, Vanderbilt's trying to make their position a lot more comfortable as well. We say there's a lot of baseball to be played, but we're down to, counting this one, the final 8 games of conference play.
And if you're in a position to host, and I know we've talked about this, how important that is. You get that first round and you're hosting. It's so critical to obviously give you a chance to go to a super. And teams that in the past that have been able to host, especially if you're a national seed, your path to Omaha, it's not easy, but it sure does open up avenues for you in order to get to that position that you want to get.
Logan Johnstone just fought that one off to stay alive against Ashton Crowther, who worked a scoreless 6th inning. Check that 7th inning against Vanderbilt. Johnstone's been perfect today, though. 3 for 3, all singles. And He's just trying to hang around till he can get another one.
And that's the big thing. From you go back to Zane Adams, and now you look at Crowther here in his second inning of work. The thing that Alabama has been able to do from a pitching side today and yesterday. They gave up 2 walks yesterday, and they've given up 1 walk today.
The diving catch from Brennan Holt is the only thing that kept Johnstone from going 4 for 4. Hard hit ball, but positioned perfectly. And a great athletic move to rob him of the base hit.
And it's not a coincidence that you're going to get very good defensive plays if you're a pitcher and you're filling up the strike zone. Your players are going to be on their toes, and now they're able to get to that play that may be just out of reach, but you come up with a great diving play by Brennan Holt. Great job to get that first out of the inning. And if Alabama can continue making Vanderbilt earn what they get with a 5-0 lead, you're putting yourself in a great position.
Colin Barzy due up, but it's a pinch hitter, and Chris Maldonado who will get a swing of the bat. 253 hitter on the year with 24 hits and 95 at bats. He's got 4 homers and 7 doubles on the year. He's walked 10 times and struck out 18. Fouls it back as the count sits at a ball and 2 strikes. Maldonado 6'1", 194, and a senior out of Short Hills, New Jersey. Played at Seton Hall Prep before making his way to Nashville. And bounces in there from Crowther. Two. That one just missed. If you missed it earlier, Anthony Perez is now our plate umpire. Scott Kennedy started the game behind the plate, got struck by a foul ball in the second inning, and that forced the Crew to drop to 3. This one's popped up a mile high. LeBron, shallow left, will make the play. And there are 2 out. Thankfully, Scott was able to walk off the field on his own power after several minutes. But the Crew's done a nice job working in a little bit unusual situation for them, which is the 3-man crew. Cued foul off the end of the bat of Rigdon. Rustin Rigdon, the center fielder, who singled twice and grounded out in 3 plate appearances. Shows bunt. And Crowther's going to be able to field it, make the play in time. And how about the effort from the senior lefty? Through 7.5, it's 5-0 Bama. Alabama got off to a great start with 3 in the first, tacked on 2 more in the 3rd inning. Rode Zane Adams for 6 innings and 98 pitches of really good work, especially after he got in trouble. Gave up 8 hits, but no runs. Get enough offense to build the cushion, and then the defense and pitching have done the job since then.
Yeah, and you look at Zane Adams, we talked about it early on, and of the hits, 8 singles in the day, only 1 walk, so he was able to not give up the free base. And then when he needed to get the punch out at various times in the game, he was able to do that, and really a fairly untaxed outing for the most part, other than getting out of that bases loaded jam. So very nice job by a guy that has been doing it now for 3 years. And when you're in this part of the season, you need your veterans to step up and say, boys, get on my back. I'm going to take us to the promised land. And he's done that today in a huge way.
Eric Hines standing in. The ball and no strikes to the young man who homered in the first, singled in a run in the 3rd, and then struck out in the 5th. Again, he has had 6 RBIs in 2 days. Awfully, awfully good. Whiffs at that breaking ball at 85, but the count sitting at 1-2.
And you see those pitches that they're trying to work him away. That's been the ability, and now you away, and then you sneak one in on him. And that's a really good job of pitching. You walk him away, you get him looking out there, and then you run that fastball, or it might have been a backdoor slider that just kind of backed up on him that he got the punch out.
Fooled him and Reynolds,
yeah.
But Reynolds was able to run it down and throw Hines out at first base. So 2 gone here in the bottom of the 8th. And John Lim digging in. He followed up Hines' 2-run shot with a solo blast in the first. Bama got off to the races, and then again the 2 runs in the 3rd. I believe that both of which came with 2 outs. Helped Alabama build a nice lead, and they've used good pitching and defense since then. Keep it right there.
And you look at both teams. You look at Vanderbilt, they're only on their 2nd pitcher in the ball game. Alabama's on their 2nd pitcher in the ball game, when Alabama used 2 arms last night. And you say, well, why is that important? Well, listen, you got another game tomorrow, and you need to have as many bullets as you can have in that bullpen, and for both teams. Because one thing you got to do, if you're Vanderbilt, you coming on the road, you have to find one way to win a baseball game. You got to get out of a road series with a win. And if you're Alabama, you can get this one, and now you're looking at, hey, how much ground you could gain if you were to happen to be able to get a sweep.
Lifted foul back and out of play. It's really kind of amazing how Alabama's season has gone within the conference itself. You get swept at Kentucky to start things off. You then sweep Florida and Auburn. They didn't split a series until the Oklahoma series for Rob Vaughn, where they still won 2 out of 3 on the road. Got swept at home against Arkansas. That one's poked well towards left. Is it going to be high enough? No. A nice leaping grab against the wall by Holcomb for out number 3. But Bama leads it by 5 going to the 9th. Lance/Chance for the Commodores when we return. Commodores down 5-0 going to the top of the 9th inning here at Sewell Thomas Stadium. I'm Chris Stewart alongside Alan Dunn, former player here at the University of Alabama and long time coach. Both professional baseball, the majors with the Orioles, and if I'm leaving somebody else out, forgive me, but finished up as pitching coach in Baton Rouge as the leadoff man for Vanderbilt here in the ninth. Tommy Gooden fouls it off. How many years did you spend in Baton Rouge? Was it 10? That's what I thought.
10 years, yeah.
Oh and 1 to Gooden, who's walked, reached on an error, and lined out in 3 plate appearances. Ashton Crowther came on to start the 7th inning after 6 really effective frames from starter Zane Adams.
Number 50, Alki Kea on deck to pinch hit. 50 Kea on deck to pinch hit.
Alki Kea will pinch hit after Gooden's at bat ends. Reynolds was due up, but Kea will be next. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count to Gooden. That one's chopped foul. It's the 28th pitch thrown by Crowther. Roller, backhanded by Holton. He's not going to be able to make a play. That'll be an E4. As he made, really, I thought, the tough part of the play in getting to it.
As we look right here, look at this. He goes to his right, stays down in front, and then it hits it, and then the transfer, it just came out. And
did he slip a little bit too?
He may have. And then then you try to speed up in your mind, and it's all a blur at that point.
See if it's a blip or if it's a start of a problem for Alabama as Kea takes ball 1 outside.
Problem is you're going to turn that lineup over again with Reich on deck, who is a switch hitter.
Fly ball down the right field line. Is it going to stay in play? It does, but it's a foul ball, and unable to get to it is Peyton Steele, and the count evens at 1-1. Alki Kea, A-U-K-A-I. It's the first name. K-E-A is the second. I won't even attempt to name his hometown in Hawaii, but it's not Honolulu. That one is hit sharply toward left center field. On the run and claiming it is Fowler for the out. Boy, that is a beautiful play by the center fielder. We talked about running and watching guys, and it's
just so
it's not
easy.
always stolen bases, man. Those plays there are a great indicator of what the speed's really like.
First thing you have to is anticipate. Then you have to be able to get a great, and look at this jump. And the ball did stay in the air, but look at the strides, surrounds it. Just a great defensive play. That's not routine, Mr. Stewart.
No, sir. Oh and 1 the count. as Riker Waite swings and misses, and it's 0-2 to the leadoff man in the order. Ground out, strikeout, pop out, single. The 4 at bats today for Waite. Down 0-2. 1 out, a man at first. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Crowther an out away from earning a save, and a well-deserved one at that.
Look at this pitch. Bottom falls out. Looked like it was that changeup that he just turned over. And again, location down, works it off the plate. As a hitter, you run out of bat. 2 outs. You'd love to see him finish this thing up right now.
Mancini takes a strike. 2 line outs to center, a pop out to third, and a strikeout for the left-handed hitting second baseman for the Commodores. Bama not holding the runner at first. Vaughn will play back. Grounder up the middle, gobbled up, and making the play for the out. It's LeBron Devon with a great stretch, and the Tide picks up its 12th conference victory of the year. First series win in a month for the Crimson Tide. Just what the doctor ordered for Coach Rob Vaughn's Crimson Tide as they win it by a final score of 5-0. We'll talk with Eric Hines, a guy that's been supplying the power from left field, when we come back and recap it. Good day at the office for the Alabama Crimson Tide. We were scheduled to go at 6 o'clock locally here in the Central Time Zone in Tuscaloosa, but the threat of rain moved it up, and the Tide took advantage. Even though they were out hit by Vanderbilt 9-8, the Tide got it done with key hits early, including one from Eric Hines. His first plate appearance was a ball lifted into the Vandy bullpen to score 2 in the bottom of the first. Bama was not done, though, as the next man coming to the plate, John Lim, the hero last night, provided a big hit in this one, a home run that made it 3-0. The Tide gets 2 more in the third and wins it by a final score of 5-0. The hometown hero from right here in Tuscaloosa, pride of American Christian Academy. Eric Hines joining us. Eric, Chris Stewart, along with Alan Dunn. Congratulations on the win. And, man, for you and John Lim, last few plate appearances last night and today were pretty good, weren't they?
Yes, sir. Feels good.
Tell me about the stretch. I think 6 RBIs in, what, 3 plate appearances or 4? Going back to last night, thing had to look like a softball or a beach ball coming up there to you.
Yeah, just had to keep everything simple. And Coach Vaughn says this all the time. Like, we set up innings, and all you got to do is just do your job, and that's just simply what I did.
Eric, Alan Dunn here, man. Hey, great 2 games. And, hey, listen, one thing I'd love for you to take us through is early in the year, not in the lineup, waited your time. Take us through your development process and how you've arrived at where you are at this point of the season today.
Early on, I mean, it was just taking it from all the older guys out in front of me, man. One person to highlight, especially in the outfield, is Bryce Fowler. You know, he's always coaching up the young guys, especially during practice. I mean, he's just a great role model. And batting-wise, Jason Torres he's been a guy to lean on so far. He's always giving me advice, always encouraging me. And so does John Lim, too. And it was just taking it all in from them and, you know, just watching the games and getting experience in. Just by watching and everything, so yeah.
By the way, nice job handling the pressure of Lemmy coming up there and never knowing what you're going to get from it in that spot. I do want to ask before we let you go. We talk about it all the time with Alabama guys, young men from this state, and how special it is to wear the script A and in Alabama across the chest as you are right now. But for not just an Alabama kid, a Tuscaloosa product.
Yes, sir.
How big to be able to sport that uniform and have success at this stage of your career?
It's just a dream come true, man. I've just been wanting to do this since I was about 3 or 4 years old. You know, I grew up coming to these games and watching Alabama sports in general, so it's just making my town happy. I know they're proud of me. I know they always got my back, so it's just a dream come true, man.
A joy to watch you. Congratulations on the success.
Thank you.
Eric Hines, a big reason why the Tide was able to roll to a 5-0 victory and claim the series from Vanderbilt. Game 3 set up for tomorrow. We'll have it for you on the SEC Network. Plus, for Alan Dunn and the rest of our SEC Network crew, I'm Chris Stewart. Thanks for joining us, and so long from the Capstone.